Should be good. Hey, Daquar Vakasha, can you plug this joint in for me? Hey, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom. All right, brothers here in DC. We're just gonna do a live Hebrew class. Before we start, of course, as our custom is, we have to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. That's the Most High name of His Son. Shalom, Wabarakim, Labakarim, Yasha'Allah. Peace and blessings to elected Israel. And Sheni Kabah, Gawalo Kwab, double honors to Great Millstone. It's a Konim Noah, Waha Shalayakim Noah, Yasha Allah, our elders and apostles of Israel. Slok, excuse me. So yeah, we are. So this class is going to be. That's the Most High name is Son. Basically, Shalom Wabarakim. Yeah, that's good. So we good. So we're gonna go through a few precepts in the New Testament in the Hebrew, and kind of just show you how to identify certain words. All right, because when you read certain words in the English and you know them in Hebrew, when you go to read it in the New Testament Hebrew, you should be able to identify these words. All right. So for instance, we have a couple precepts here. All right. So for one of the precepts, all right, and Akim that are listening, and tuning into this, feel free to ask questions as well as the Akim are here. We got some of the Ayalam Akim here, the younger brothers in the camp here with us through the spirit for this class. If you have any questions, feel free to interject. And if there's any questions on the comment board, be sure to let me know. And if there's any precepts that I can want too that you think of while we're going through this, drop the precept, drop the word, and we're going to go into this. So I pray and I know this to be edifying to the elect. It's basically going to be a walkthrough of how we transliterate, all right, these words that we see in the Hebrew New Testament. All right, so first, what we're going to do is we're going to go into Luke 21 and 19, all right, where it says, in your patience possess ye your souls. So, and this is a class, so I'm going to be asking Akim questions. So we see the word souls. What is the Hebrew word for souls, Akim? Any brother can answer. Napash, that's correct. So when we go to Luke 21, all right, and there's two sources. Before I keep going, and if you go to the description of this live show, the sources are there. The sources should be there. All right, the sources should be there. So the first source is going to be the actual dictionary that we're going to be using. The second one is the main source I usually go to for New Testament Hebrew, the number one, and then the New Testament Hebrew number two is another source that you're going to use. But you're going to see me use this one right here a lot. So now that we know one of the Hebrew words, all right, hey, and if this is boring to you, then that's just too bad. That's the point of class. This may be a boring topic or whatever, but there's a elect out there that want to know this stuff, so we gotta do our job to stay on this. All right, so we know what Napash means. All right, so we're gonna go. Let's read the precept, and what you have to do is you're gonna find yourself reading the English a lot, and then reading the Hebrew as well, because in order to understand these key words, you got to go back and figure it out. So here we are in Luke. All right, let me actually start at the top. Let me go back and show you how this works. So this is the first website that I like to use. All right, and we're gonna go to Luke. All right, so we have Luke, and here we have chapter 1. So the chapters are gonna be named with actual numbers and then Hebrew characters. So here on the left side, you can see that what we have the number 1. All right, and that's for chapter 1. Also on the right side over here, which is everything starts in the Hebrew, we see the Hebrew character ah, which also means 1. So that's gonna allow you to understand which chapter you're in. So as we scroll down, when we get to chapter 2, you're gonna see the number 2, and then you'll also see ba. All right, so as we're scrolling down, you can see you have the number 2, and then you have ba. So we're actually going to go to chapter 21. So 21 is going to be a ka and a ah. All right, a ka and a ah. So we're just going to scroll down, keep going. We know that, and the thing is, when if there's so many chapters in one book, you know how far you kind of need to scroll. So since Luke ends in the 20s, all right, we know that we want to go almost to the end of this page here. So here we are. You see 21, and I was right. All right, Ka and Ah is going to be represented for 21. All right, so what are we looking for? Luke 21 and 19. And everywhere that you see a semicolon is where the precept ends and the next precept begins. All right. So as we're scrolling down here, we're going to verse 19. All right. So now we see 19 over here, and we know that 19 is fairly short. All right. 19 is just one sentence. All right. And your patience possess you your souls. All right. So when we look through here, we're looking for something that's very short. See, we have a precept here that appears to be short, but look, it's on the same line as 18. All right. So we can see that this is going to be 18. All right. And there's another semicolon, so which means what? On the very next line, that's where 19 is going to begin. So this right here is going to be 19. All right. Now I'm actually going to get this also on the other website as well. All right. I'm going to slide this over. I'm going to make sure I blow this up so I can see this clearly on the stream. All right. So we're going to go to Luke. And here, this one actually has the numbers for you. We're going to go to 21 and we're going to scroll down to 19. All right. And here we can see that the Assyrian matches up, which this is another good reason why you should have two sources. So that if this one, which is easier for me to read, but if this is hard to understand, you grab this one and you can see that it starts off with the same Hebrew characters, a ba, a tha, and a wa. All right, a ba, a tha, and a wa. All right, so we know that all Hebrew words, when they're constructed, they have prefixes and suffixes. We know that ba generally means in, and when ma is on the end of a word, we know that it means that it's plural. All right, now when we go back to the precept and read it, Yahweh Shai is not talking to one person. All right, he's talking to multiple people. It says, in your patience possess ye your souls. All right, so that's why in this precept, you're going to see ma on the end of a lot of these words. All right, ma here, and a ma here. All right, so now this is going to be tedious. All right, this is where it's going to get a little tedious to figure this out. All right, before we figure out this first word, what do we want to do? We want to figure out where Napash is. We want to identify where Napash is in this precept. And when you go through here and you can see on this line, we see that Napash is located right here. A Na, a Pa, and a Sha. Again, on this one. When you come through this precept, all right, you see what? We have the Na, the Pa, and the Sha. All right. Now, when he said souls, it says ye your soul. So it's more than one person. So when you come back here and you see Napash, this actually says this whole word is Napash Tha Yakum, which means Napash means soul, Tha thou, and Yakum is yours. All right. Sometimes when you see your or ye in the Hebrew, it will say Yahum or it will say Yakum. All right. Now also, all right, you see here in the precept that it says your. The way that you would say your in Hebrew is going to be represented by the lakum. All right, la, two, and then the kum basically means a plural. Basically means you all. All right, and the same here, lakum. All right, now if you look at it in the Lashwan as well, we can see this is what it looks like in the Lashwan, lakum. And again, napash tha yakum. All right, so now that we know that this says souls, and so this says possess. Now ath means, or I'm sorry, not ath. Atha means what, Akim? When we say atha, right, it means you. And when you answer Akim, Babak Shah, speak up. All right, so atha means you. Now this first word. Now we're going to go into this first word. All right, remember we're translating this whole precept. Now this is the only precept that I'm actually going to go all the way through. The other ones are going to be more for identifying key words. All right, and again, while you're doing this too, make sure, all right, make sure that you have this up as well too. You want to have the alphabet up. All right, I'm gonna show you, Akim. Make sure that you have this alphabet up when you're going through the New Testament Hebrew, so that way you can understand these letters. Your question, not? Yeah, just Google. All you got to do is just Google. Just Google GMS Lashwan Quadash alphabet, and it'll pop up. All right. So now, again, this word here, ba, tha, wa, ha, la, tha, ka, and ma. So through the Spirit, when you see words like this, and you're ready to look them up, you want to take off this word, this letter. I'm sorry, this character, and these last three characters. It's looking like the root word here is going to be tha wahal. All right, tha wahal. Now in the precept it says patience and possess. So this word salakia, this word tha wahal is either going to mean possess or what? Patience, right? Now we know when you possess something, what are you doing? You're taking it, right? Do Akim know what the Hebrew word for take is? Huh? No, that's branch. Anap is branch. Take, when you take something, is quana. All right, remember I know, brothers, we've seen this word quana before, right? So now that we know that possess might mean quana. Well, guess what? We see quana right here. All right, we see quana in this precept. When you come here, you see quana. So now what we want to do to make sure that quana actually means possess, we have to go to the dictionary. All right, so now we're going to go to this dictionary. And the easiest way to find words versus scrolling all the way through, which you can do that, if you hit Control F, or if you have a Mac, Command F, it's going to allow you to search any word on here. So let's type in possess. See how many times that's coming up. All right, so it's coming up at least 15 times already. And now all you got to do is just start hitting enter. All right, let's start hitting enter. So we have possessor. Now we know that it's qua, so that means what? It's when you go through, when you see all these numbers, right? If something is a number 3, that means what? It's probably going to be higher up in the alphabet. But qua is not high up in the alphabet. So when you come back to when you come back to your alphabet, you go through and you see where is qua at. Qua looks like it's towards the end. So what we're going to do is when we go to this dictionary, we know if there's 81, it's probably going to be somewhere between 60 and 81. All right, so we're just going to keep hitting enter. All right, I'm going to hold enter down actually. All right, until we get to about 60. As you can see, it's moving down this page. All right, now we're at 60 now, and we're at what? We're at qua. See, that's the spirit. Now we're at qua. Well, shoot, it went all the way to the end. It started over. Salak. All right, so, and it's still going. Yeah, I probably held it for too long. Yeah, I got an HDMI. You want to plug it into this? Yeah, we could do that. All right, so while this thing is still going, Salakia. All right, so that's good. That's straight, though. So we're at 54. Yep. So we're at 54. Make sure the sound still works too, Akim. So we're at 54. So let's keep going. I'm gonna hit enter a couple times until what? Until the letter qua appears first. Now I know this is small. Let me try and make this bigger. All right. So right now we're at I. All right, which means I is not too far away from qua. We see I, pa, taza, and qua. All right. Remember, we're trying to make sure and confirm. All right, that that word quana means possess. So we're gonna keep going. All right, we're at pan. We see possessions. We see pakwak. Let's keep going. We're still in pa. Pa. All right, now we're in qua. And look, we've reached it. All right, quana. All right, so now we know that word is that word Quanawa, all right? Because in the precept it actually says Quanawa, which means possess it, all right? Possess it. And what are we possessing? Our souls, all right? So let me go back to the dictionary again. We can see, I can kind of zoom in just a little more. Let's see if this thing will let me. Yep. All right. We can see what we have here, Quana. All right. That means it says Quana. Now, when you go through it, it says acquired, got, possessed, possession, possessed, and then it even gives you a precept. So, and that's good too. That's a great thing. And when I'm going through the dictionary, Akim, I'm hoping that it says that it gives a precept in the Old Testament, because now we can go to the Old Testament to look for that Hebrew word to make sure that it matches up what's in the New Testament. Now let me show you what I mean when I'm saying that, because that might be a little confusing. All right, so we're gonna go to Jeremiah 32 and 15 to see if Quanah is there. All right, let's go to Jeremiah 32 and 15. All right, and this is how I put all my videos together, Akim. For the New Testament. And that's sometimes that's why I made the tier certain brothers, because when I put these Hebrew videos together, sometimes it takes 2.5 to 3 hours for one precept. Just cross referencing, making sure that things look right. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's a lot quicker, but sometimes it can be very difficult. So now we're at Jeremiah 32 and 15, and when we go through here, we can see. Let's read the precept. It says, "For thus saith the Lord of hosts, the power of Israel, houses and fields and vineyards shall be possessed again in this land." That's spiritual. We looking for that. All right, so we see the possessed is here. Let's make sure that's Quanah. All right, when you come down here, we can see clearly that this Quanah matches up with the Quanah that's in Luke. So now we know a few more words in here. We know that this is Napash Yakam, which means your souls, and Quanawa means possess. So apparently and obviously, this first word here, Ba Thawahal Thakam, has to mean patience. Alright, so now what we want to look up is Thahal, because pretty sure that this Wa is making this word continual. Alright, because sometimes a Wa is put between the first letter and the second letter of a word to make it continual. All right, because we want to continually possess our souls in the affliction that we're catching. All right, so when we go back to the dictionary, let's X out of here. All right, and since we're already towards the bottom, all right, of the dictionary, and we know what the tha is, which letter of the alphabet? It's the last, right? So that means what? We want to go all the way to the bottom, basically. And the Hebrew word that we're looking for, and you brothers know how to look up words in the dictionary. You go for the first letter, then you go to the second letter, then you go to the third letter. So we're going to go from tha to ha to la in hopes that we're going to find what? The word patience in that definition. All right. So let's scroll down. See where we're at. We're at Shah. Almost there. Still at Shah. Let's keep going. All right, now we're at Tha. All right, now, see, and this is another thing. When you're scrolling through and you end up on the letter that you want, and you're not sure if you need to go forward or backwards to find the word you're looking for, because the next letter, see here, we have Tha Ka. All right, now we're trying to look for Tha Ha. If you're not privy to how the alphabet is constructed as far as order is concerned, what you have to do is this. All right. Lower your screen, all right, and see where ka is and see where ha is in relation to each other. Now when we come through here, I'm sorry, that's the last one. All right, when we come through here, we see that what ka is after ya, all right, but we're looking for ha, so that means we need to scroll up in the browser, all right, because ha comes before ka in the alphabet. Does that make sense? That makes sense, right? So now that we're here, and this is a very large PDF too, Akim. So it's gonna take a while for you to minimize and maximize this thing. So now that we know we've gone too far, we're going to scroll up until we see Cha. All right, now we know anytime you see Yah, keep in mind, this should be like muscle memory. Anytime you see the Hebrew character Yah, you know that you're at number 10. All right, you've reached the 10th letter in the alphabet. All right, so we're going to keep going. And as you can see, we're on page 700 of this thing. All right, so it looks like there's a. And another thing, oh, we're already there, that's the spirit. When sometimes some Hebrew words, like you saw Tha and Yah, there are a lot of Hebrew words that start off with Tha and Yah. When you realize that, you just keep scrolling further. All right, just keep scrolling further because it might take a while. So here we are at Tha, Cha, and Ma. All right, but we need what we're looking for is Tha, Cha, and La. All right. So if we are at Tha, Cha, and Ma, do we need to scroll up or do we need to scroll down? Probably need to go up, right? So actually, we're actually just about here. All right. Actually, it's on the left side. So let's see if any of these definitions match up. All right. So far we see Tha, Cha, and La. This is the first instance of it. All right. Let's see what this means here on the left side of the screen. All right. So first we have to begin. It says commence. Let's keep going down. All right. To initiate, beginning, Dakhalab. All right, so it's looking like patience isn't within here, and that's okay. Sometimes this actually happens. All right, so now what you want to do is, even with this definition that we have, can we apply what it says for Thachal to the precept within this definition? So if we look in this definition, can we apply beginning? All right, can we apply that? I don't think we can. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're actually going to type in patience and now we're going to word search it. So that's a good teaching point. When you go to the actual letter of the Hebrew word you're looking for and you don't see the definition, all right, what you want to do is just copy and paste the word in here and see how many times it comes up. Now patience might come up several times. All right, let me just type in patient. All right, well it came up one time. All right, let's just minimize this quickly here. All right, it's taking a little while to load. Let's keep going. Let's let it keep loading. Now remember this if you check out this number up here, it's gonna keep increasing a little bit. All right, because it's still thinking. This is a large PDF, so let's click through here and see what we got. So we got Sabalanwath. All right, it looks like that says patience. We have Saba Yala, which also means patience, and here we have Quatazar. All right. Well, that says impatience or shortness. All right. That means to be impatient. All right. So we actually are not quite sure what this says yet. So now, remember, we looked up Tha, Cha, and La. All right. So now what we're going to try and look up is Tha, Wa, Cha, and La. All right. Let's try and look that up real quick. And like I said, hey, this is tedious. This wasn't. Remember, the Lord stripped this from us. At one point in time, we didn't have to have a dictionary to go figure out what our language meant. So this is gonna be uh, somewhat difficult, if you will. All right. How's the comment board, Akim? Khan. All right. Khan, bring it out.
This is Sirach, chapter 13, verse 26. A cheerful countenance is a token of a heart that is in prosperity, and the finding out of parables is a wearisome labor of the mind.
Speak on our brother.
The finding out of parables is a wearisome labor of the mind. So anything that goes with understanding is going to be wearisome.
Con. Yeah, somebody get that prelude to Sirach, where it speaks about the Hebrew. All right. Now again, we're looking for Thawachal. All right, Thawachal. So right now we're at Thama. All right, and again, when you sometimes you forget the word, you need to go back. Tha, wa, aha, and Allah. All right, we're still scrolling through this thing. All right, we're at Ya, which means we're at the 10th letter. I believe Wa is the 4th letter of the alphabet, so we want to keep on going. Right now we're at Ha. All right, so it looks like we just got to Wa. All right, so now we're looking for Tha, Wa, La. All right, here we are on the right side of the screen. Tha, Wa, La, and then an I. All right, so we're actually looking for Tha, Wa, La, and a Ha. All right, so we're going to scroll up. Let's keep going up. Here we go. Here we go right here. What's this say? Tha, Wa, Ha, La. Now that says hope. Hope. So, right, like the brother said, that makes sense. So, this is what we can actually apply to this precept. All right. So now we see you can find it. It just takes some digging. So now when we go back to this precept where it says ba thawachal thakam, literally means in your hope. You know, in your hope, you can replace that word with patience within your hope, because when you're being patient, you're hoping for something. All right. So now we know that in this precept, in your patience is ba thawachal thakam. All right. So I hope I pray this is making sense. Ba thawachal thakam. In your hope, quanawa, possess it. Lakam, you all. All right. Or your basically, and then you or ye, because the precept said what? It said ye. A tha is represented by ye. The ya is represented by lakam. And then you have souls, which is more than one soul. That's why it has yakam on the M. Napash thayakam. All right. So now you can see how we broke down that precept. You identify which words you can see and you know, and then you just go into the dictionary and you look up these words. And my recommendation, again, when you see a word like this one here, all right, when you want to go look it up, drop the prefix and drop the suffix, all right, and try to look up this word right here. And when you go to look up this word, drop the wa first, because when we know about changing tenses, usually a wa is thrown in there to change the tense. But as you can see, there was no tense being changed here. The wa was actually part of the word, all right, and we can see that clearly right here, all right, where we have a tha. I wish I could get it closer. A tha, a wa, a ha, a la, and a tha. This word is actually thawa chala. All right, because if I'm not mistaken, the word for hope is yachal, right? It's yachal, a ya, a ha, and a la. All right. So we went through Luke 21 and 19. What we want to do is we're going to grab another precept. Did brothers have any questions or precept?
I got precept.
Yeah, bring it on out, brother.
This is Romans 8 and 25. But if we hope for that we see not, then do we with patience wait for it. So,
Kind of speak on it.
just, how hope and patience go hand in hand,
Yep.
I did have a question for that word. Did there happen to be a Old Testament reference, just like last time?
Okay, so yeah, let's do that. So let's go to that word in the dictionary and let's see if they give a precept in here. All right. Now, when you read,
I guess not.
yeah, so there's nothing down here. However, we do know, because that's another thing. You're not going to know that hope is Yahal in the Hebrew if you're not studying the Hebrew. You would never know that, you know? You would never know that. So let's do this. Let's type in hope and let's see what comes up. And another thing, if brothers know anything about Strong's numbers, they're numbered in a not chronologically. If let's say let's look up Father. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. These numbers represent where they come up in the concordance. So if we type in Father, it's going to be a very, very, very low number. All right. See H1. Hebrew Strong's 1. It's the very first one. All right. So now when we go to hope, when you type in hope, yeah, because it's and a ba. All right. So now when we go to hope, we can see that it's coming up almost at the end. Now some of them have different numbers. See, this one's 4723. It's a little higher up, which means this one's probably going to be Yahal. This one's probably not going to be Yahal. So what we want to do is get this precept. Let's click on Hope 4723. And this actually says Ma Kwawa. I'm sorry, Kwawa actually might mean hope. I've seen it. There's another one, right? Yeah, let's go into Psalms 31:76. This might be it. Be of good courage, and he shall strengthen you. That's it. That's the spirit, the water. All right, and we can see that this Hebrew word Yachal is also means hope, which this Hal part is which we see in here. You know, so it links up. You know, yeah, it's just another reference through the spirit. All right, and basically, anytime I make my videos, Akim, I never put anything out without cross-referencing first. You always make sure where is this at in another place. You know what I mean? And I mean cross-referencing as far as when you find it in here on the dictionary, if it gives a precept, go to the precept just to make sure. You know what I mean? Because even when you go to that precept, sometimes it might not have that same English word that you're looking for. It might have something else, which is also yapa, because it's going to give you more understanding. You know, because Hebrew, you get one word and that's what it means. In English, you could have 10 different synonyms for, trying to say one thing. All right, so we're going to drop the Luke and we're going to go to John, 1 John 2:20. And now what we're going to do, we're just going to try and identify Hebrew words where to start in precepts. All right. And I've already said it, but this is just class, so it's about repetition. All right, so let's go to 1 John 2:20. If a brother got it, you can read it. Actually, it's on the screen. Kalava, read that, brother.
1 John 2:20, ye have an unction of the Holy One, and ye know all things.
All right, so how many words in here can Akim identify?
13.
Written? No, verse 20. Right, holy. We all know that Kodash is holy, all right? Yep. All right, and also it says no. How do you say no in the Hebrew? No, no, as in like you know something. Knowledge. How do you say knowledge? No, that's understanding. Bayan is understanding. Knowledge or to know is yadai. We know it's yadai, all right? It's okay. It's so many words, we getting it back. So right now, when we go to this precept in the New Testament Hebrew, we're going to be looking for Kodash. We're going to be looking for Yadai so that we can build around those words and figure out what this precept is saying. But we're just going to identify the words right now. All right. So here we are again in 1 John. All right. And this is chapter 2. If you scroll up, you'll see we have Ba, which means chapter 2, and we're going to go to verse 20. And again, 20 is going to start where the semicolon is. Now, another thing I do when I first came into the truth to start trying to do this was, if you want to know where a precept is, go back to the English and see what Hebrew word or see what English word is there to see if you can find that Hebrew word. So when we come here, it says but ye. All right, so we might be looking for a tha or something like that, or something that refers to you all in the Hebrew. So if you didn't know that, so let's say you thought this was verse 20. Let's say you thought this was verse 20 up here with this. Well, we don't see anything that is going to suggest, even in the first three letters, it's going to suggest that it's talking to somebody, multiple people. Now, when you come down to this one, we can see that it says wa a thumb. Now, the prefix wa doesn't always mean and. Sometimes it means but. When wa is before a word, sometimes it means but. So now we see it says wa a thumb. So we know that this has to be verse 20 because it says wa a thumb, which means and you all. All right, wa a thumb means and you all. All right, or but you all. All right, so when we go to this precept again, it says but ye. That's what this means. Wa a thumb, but ye. All right, so now that we have this, and let me do I have it here? Let me just get First John here as well. 2, and we're gonna go to 20. All right, and we can see that it matches here. All right, you can see that this matches clearly is matching. So here in the Lashwan, wa a thumb, wa a thumb. All right, so just from looking at this, can we identify any of these words in here? We can. All right, we see what? We see quadawash. We see something that looks like quadash, basically. All right, we see something that looks like quadash. Do we see no? We do see no. We see yadai in here. We see a variation of yadai. All right, so and also when we come back here, when you come back through the precept, you see where my mouse is. All right, let me come out. We can see when you come through here, you're looking for the Hebrew character qua. Now, if you're struggling, again, keep your screen at halfway and just scroll to where you need to be. All right, we're looking for this right here in this precept. All right, and now when we come through here, what do we see? We see the qua here. All right, and we see a da, a wa, and we see a sha. All right, sha here, sha here. So we know that this obviously has to say this means holy. All right, this says holy. Go ahead. Rob.
Just y'all walk between the first and the second.
Mhm.
It's present tense.
Mhm.
If it's like towards the end, before the last letter,
Mhm.
that means it's like past tense.
Yeah. Con. Yep. Ha quadawash, unction from the Holy One. All right. Now Ha quadawash is the Holy One, and then Wa Yeditham, which means, let's go back to the precept. All right, you know all things. So it's not saying you know one thing, it's saying you know all things, more than one. So that's why when you go to the precept, you're going to see here that you have a ma on the end. All right, come to the precept, you see that you have a ma on the end. All right, and then you have, all right, I kind of gave the answer away, but how do you say all in Hebrew? Call, right? So now when we go into this precept as well, we can look for call. All right, let me zoom out here. Again, we have hakal, which means the all or all things. Again, hakal, all things. All right. Now one last precept, and then we can pretty much finish up because now you see basically I said SOPs. It is like SOP, standard operating procedures for transliterating the Hebrew. Jake in that plantation mode still. uh, shit. So now we're gonna hit on Ephesians, the second chapter. We're gonna hit Ephesians 2 and maybe verse 12 here. All right. So let's go to Ephesians 2. And Bakushah, how's the comment board looking? There's no questions or anything. Put the link for the dictionary in the comments or description. Yeah. So in the description, the very first link where it says dictionary and semicolon, that's gonna be the dictionary. All right, and I'll copy that and I'll paste that in here. That's the link right there. All right. So let's go back. Now we're gonna hit Ephesians 2 and then we'll wrap up. Because now you kind of got the gist of it, you know? You got the gist of it. Let's go to Ephesians 2 And we are going to do, yeah, let's do verse 12. I'm going to read verse 11 because it's good. But 12 is what we're going to focus on. All right, Ephesians 2 and 11, it says, "Wherefore remember that ye being in time past Gentiles in the flesh, who are called uncircumcision by that which is called the circumcision in the flesh, made by hands." And the northern kingdom falls subject to that a lot, especially in this time. You got so-called Negroes, the southern kingdom, Negroes, Haitians, West Indians, saying that the Gadites, the Reubenites, the Zebulonites, they all are dark skinned, they're not the Latinos, which is a damn lie. All right, which that would be the circumcision trying to call the uncircumcision you're uncircumcised, basically you're heathens. So verse 12, it says that at that time ye were without, it says Christ is Hamashiach, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel and strangers from the covenants of promise, having no hope and without the power in the world. All right, so there's several words here. So Akim, within this precept, what can you identify? Right, we got Hamashiach, we got Yashar Allah. Right, you're gonna be looking for a Wa before a word. Right, you might be looking for a Allah. Yep, yep. Abba and Aha. Yep. Yeah, we got hope, Yahal again. Don't forget, we also have no. So we're gonna be looking for a La'ah in the precept. All right. Now we're gonna be jumping back and forth a lot because we're not gonna remember all this. But through the Spirit, we read these precepts so much that when you go into the New Testament Hebrew, you can kind of remember what needs to be said. So here we are. Let's go to Ephesians. Let's go to Ephesians here as well. Ephesians 2. Let's go down to 11. All right, that's 11. Let's come down to 11. And 11 on here, you're going to see a Yah and a Ah. All right, a Yah is represented by the number 10. The Ah is represented by the number 1. So the Yah and the Ah is 11, which in the Hebrew you would say Ashar Chad, which means 11. Ashar is 10. Chad is 1. You say Achad Wa Ashar, which means 1 in 10. Which is, that's how the precepts say, where we at? Oh, this is chapter 1. Let's go to chapter 2. All right, 2 and 11. All right, we can see where 11 is, and it's going to start after the semicolon. So we have Al Khan. Oh, also, we're at 11. Okay, let's do 12. Salah. I was going to say, if we in 11, we already know where remember is Zakar. All right, that's why you see Zakar right here. So that's how you know where 11 is. But we're going to be working on 12. 12 starts here at this semicolon. All right. So this is a little harder to read. I'm going to deal with this one. Within this precept, when we go through it, let's try to identify words that we know. All right. That's 11. That's 12. 11. All right. So here we are. When we come through, it's 2 and 12. Hanan, Katham, Ala Yakam, Ha Bunyam, Ayan. Wait a second. Oh, I'm in 1 John. I'm like, yo. Let me go back. I gotta go to Ephesians. And see, that's the thing. That's how you catch yourself. you see Hebrew words that you can't identify, It's like, wait a second, I'm not in the right chapter. So let's go to 2 and 12. All right, here we go. So again, let's just read it. Wherefore remember that ye being in time past Gentiles in the flesh, who are called uncircumcision by that which is called uncircumcision in the flesh made by hands. Verse 12, that at that time ye were without Hamashiach, being aliens from the commonwealth of Yasha Allah, and strangers from the covenants and promise, having no la'ah hope Yahal, and without la'ah the Most High, or the power Allahayim, in the world. All right, so let's go to Ephesians 2 and 12. I'm just going to read it in the Hebrew real quick. Kaya atham ba'aith ha haya'a haya yatham ba laya Mashayak. All right, now we've reached what? The first word that we understand. So we know that this is going to is represented by what they say in the English is Christ, but we always say Mashayak. Next is Zarayathum, Ma'ith. All right, now I'm sorry, Ma'id, and if I'm not mistaken, that's the time, because Ma'id means to appointed. If we go to Habakkuk really quickly here, let me just show you this. Ma'id also means time. All right. For the vision is set for an appointed time. All right. For the vision is set for an appointed time. When you look that up, all right, when you come through here, it's going to say Mawa'id, all right, which means appointed time. And we can see that this Hebrew word is just another variation of what we're looking at here in Ephesians. Mawa'id, and then you have Ma'idah, all right, Slakia. Yeah, Ma'idah, all right, in that time. And then what was the other word we're looking for? Israel. Here you can see Yasha Allah. All right, right now we're just identifying. We're not breaking the whole thing down. We're just identifying words. What else we come through here? What else do we see? Wa Nakaryim. Now, what are the three different ways? What are the three different ways that you can say stranger in the Hebrew? Go ahead.
Gar,
Yep. What's another one?
Zakar,
Zakar. No. That's remember. Nakar. Nakar. And then Nakar. Oh, Gawayam. Or Gawaya, which means stranger. So here, now Nakar actually is almost exclusively always for the heathen. But there's only a couple instances where it's talking about Israel. Because if you go to Isaiah 56 and 6, it says, "And the sons of the strangers that join themselves to the Lord to serve him and to love the name of the Lord to be his servants, everyone that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it and taketh hold of my covenant, even them will I bring to my holy mountain and make them joyful in my house of prayer." So we know that actual strangers ain't going to come to serve the Lord and praise his name and be actually in the courts. Now, this is one of the instances where this Hebrew word for stranger is actually nakar. All right, you see in the precept it said, "And the sons of the strangers." How do you say sons in Hebrew? Bun, right? So when you come through here, you see wabunya, which means "and the sons of," and then ha nakar, which means the strangers. So now when we come back to Ephesians, the second chapter, we see nakar. We know that what? That's what the word for strangers is. Now it's strangers, so that's why you have a yum on the end. All right. Now, how do you brothers know how to say covenant or promise? It's barayath. Barayath. All right. La barayathwath means to the covenants. La to barayathwath, to the covenants. All right.
Would the car, would that be the same in Isaiah 14?
Let's check. Let's check. So the brother asked, will that nakar also be in Isaiah the 14th chapter? So let's go to Isaiah 14 and see what that says. All right. It says, "For the Lord will have mercy upon Yaquab and will choose Yashar'Allah and set them in their own land, Aratazah, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Yaquab, Bayath Yaquab." So let's go into this. And when you come through here, it looks like Gar. See, that's actually Gar. Yeah, that's Gar. All right. Just like Moses' son that he had with the heathen woman, Gershom. His name is Garsham, which means named of the heathen. All right. And then another thing is too, Akim, when you're looking up Hebrew words, and I always stress this to the brothers in the Old Testament, go down to where this area is and see how many times it comes up as other words in the English, so you can get an understanding of what it might mean. All right. So back in Ephesians. All right. So also, remember, we're also looking for no hope in God. All right. So let's go back here. We're back in Ephesians. When we start going to the end here, do we see hope and do we see God? Now remember, what was that other word for hope that we saw instead of Yahal? Kwawa. Remember Kwawa, which Kwawa actually means to wait. When you want to say wait in Hebrew, you can also say Kwawa. All right. Now let me just prove that. Let me just prove that real quick. um, and therefore wait, and therefore will the Lord wait. Where's the one I want? But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. Let's check this out. All right, because I want to prove this. So here we can see, and but they that wait. So we again, here's another good example of where was before a word. It doesn't mean and, it means but. All right. So we have wa quawaya Yahweh, which means in those that wait of the Lord, basically. All right. And we can see again, it's not quava because there's no v's in the Hebrew. All right. This should be qawa. All right, so touching back on this precept, so we identified that we could find qawa, so we know that this thou qawa means thou wait, all right, or thou hope. I'm sorry, you hope, because in the precept, go back to precept again. It says having no hope. All right. Oh, actually, so instead of saying la'ah, we see that it says ayan. What does ayan mean? Say it again. There is no. You know, you say ayan dabar, you're saying there's no words. You know, it's like saying de nada. If you instead of saying la'ah, sometimes in the precepts you're going to see ayan, a ya, and a na, and that also means no, or there is no. All right. So ba ayan, which means in not, in no hope, basically. Now, when we go through the last word here, of course, that we see is what alahayim. All right, just like you were saying, Sham, that we know that where it says God in the precept, it's not talking about the Most High. That's another thing. In the New Testament, when you know how some brothers might say the power, sometimes it might not always be the power. You know, sometimes it actually might be the Most High. Sometimes where you think it's saying the Most High, it might not be the power. But you know, you could say it in the spirit, but always make sure that you go back and look it up. You know, you can always just go back and look it up. And all you got to do is, when you go to the New Testament Hebrew, when you find the precept, just either look for the Hebrew characters for Yahweh, or look for the Hebrew precepts for Elohim. And that's how you do it. All right. Brothers have any more questions? Let me check the comment board. All right. I think we good. Mhm. Yeah, so these vowel points are what the Masoretes inserted. These, so now we're certain, the way that you say a certain word could have a u sound on the end of it, or a eh sound on it. You know what I mean? Because in the Assyrian, the way that you say the alphabet is aleph, bet, vet, gimel, daled, hey, vav, zayin, het, tet, yud. But all this stuff, all these words is just, they add all these vowel points onto it.
What was the purpose of them actually doing that? Why?
Just to construe the language, because Yiddish is a combination of German, um, Turkish, I think it's Aramaic if I'm not mistaken. But the way that they say it in the Assyrian, Aleph, and it's just the Hebrew. That's all it is just the Hebrew. You see, the way that you would say it in the Assyrian is Aleph, Bet, Gef, Daleth, Aleph, Bet, Fef, Daleth, Wa, Zayin, Ha, Tav. They say Tav, Kaf, Lamed, Mem, Nud, Samid, Ayin, Pei. They say Pei instead of Pa, Qua. And then there's this two Shah. There's a Shah and a Sheth. A Sheth and a Tha, you know. But yeah, they just added the vowel points in. That's why you see whenever I go to the Old Testament, always take off show vowel points because that's going to confuse Jake. You know, that's going to confuse Jake.
And how do you, as far as like connecting, go in, how do you
Oh, with the
make sure that
connectors, and I always tell brothers, it's just the spirit. You just got to keep reading. When you see a ma on the end of the word, you know it's going to connect. And what you do is you look at a root word. So, for instance, let's find something in here. Ka Nasharium. All right, let's go back. So we see eagles. The Hebrew word for eagle is Nashar. So we know that this isn't going to be Ka Nasharium. You know, we know it's going to be a Ka separated, and then you have Nashar. All right, and another way that you can tell someone's connected by looking at this list. Look at the way that they spell it. You see, they have Nashur. They don't have Neshara.
right? So
You know,
it can
so
connect.
you know that the Sha and the Ra are going to be connected together. All right, and that's what I'll do. I'll pick a random preset. Let's just go to Psalms 77. All right, and okay, here. I have considered the days of old, the years of ancient times. All right, here, and this is Hashabathya, or oh, I'm sorry, Hashabthaya. All right, and that's another thing. All right, whenever you see, when the scripture says I have, generally on the end of the word, you're going to see thaya. All right, thaya means I have. So whenever you see my on the end of a word, ya on the end of a word by itself, it usually means my or of. But you see a thaya, I mean, usually it's going to say I have in the precept. Now, when we come down, how did I know that just to say chashab off break? Well, I mean, it's the spirit, of course, but when you come down here, look, Dan, they even got it spelled in the Lashwan. They're just missing an A. See, and that's another thing. Some of these words, they already look like the Lashwan. You just got to look for them. So that's chashab. Now, let's say, now here we have days, which is yawam. All right, but look how they have it, yom. They say yom. But you can see that the connector is supposed to be between the wa and the ma because it doesn't say yo ma, you know. It just says yawam. Now that becomes yum yum because it's days. All right. And then we have what's the next word? Quadum. You can kind of see where the connector is going to be based off of this list here, just based off the list alone. You know what I mean? So that's how you can kind of tell where the connector is. And then it's the spirit. Every once in a while, I even come across precepts where like, damn, I don't know where this connector might be. And then that's where I go into here. I go into sometimes I go to this dictionary, or I'll play it to see how they say it, you know. And then if it's really really hard, which it really is rare that it's happened since I've been in this truth, I'll reach out to the apostle because I don't want to put out no bullshit. You know what I mean? But other than that, and if you have questions, you can always just shoot me a message, and that goes for all the Akim and Akwakim that may be tuning in. If you have a question about where a connector may be or where how a word is supposed to be pronounced, just drop a question on the comment board. All right. Hey, shalom to the Ak out in Germany. Yahweh Shemal Shabbat to you, brother. Okay, just be sometimes. Wow. Khan, that's right. Humble intentions. You're right, brother. It says he said Salakia. I thought no. It says Tazah can be Zah sometimes with the vowel points, if I'm not mistaken. But now that's according to the Masoretic text. Now sometimes you'll see a Tazah on the end of a word, and it will just be Taz. But it's very, very, very random that you will see that. All right. Let me see here. Does bar mean sun? Sometimes, like Psalms 2 and 12. Let's go check that out real quick. Sun is actually ban. All right. I know you hear the rats talk about bar mitzvahs. All right. What's that? Psalms 2. I think he says Psalms 2 and 12. Yeah, Psalms 2 and 12. Let's go through there. I actually haven't come across it. So if it actually says bar in this precept, I'll be surprised. And it actually does say bar. Now, actually, that's heavy. Now, if you notice, this sun is with a capital S, so we know that's talking about who? It's talking about Yahweh. Now, let's look up bar. Now, this is a good teaching point, so the water for this question. What you want to do is, When you see bar here, scroll down and see how many other times it comes up in the scriptures. Now, as you can see, it only appears twice, meaning this word is not generally used at all to say son. All right, it actually only appears in the scriptures twice, in Psalms 2 and 12 and 31 and 2, and the only definition here is son and heir. Now, also here in the Jacinius lexicon, it says that this is also connected to Ban Alahayawa, all right, which means sons of gods. All right, so it's a prefix in another precept, but for the most part, you don't see it anywhere else. All right, all right. So yeah, bar. It's kind of like Nakar. Nakar is almost exclusively only talking about a heathen. Like that's when you see Nakar, it's talking about the heathens for sure. But there's a few instances where it's talking about Israel, and that's how this is with bar. There's just a couple instances where you're going to see it appear as son, but for the most part, son is going to be ban. Is going to be ban through the spirit. All right. But with that, we're going to wrap up. We pray we know you were edified. Again, we want to give all praises to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakakwadash. Say shalom to your elect, shalom wa barakim unto you. A double honor to our elders and apostles, a great millstone. Shalom, shalom, wa shani kabbalah come. To Kunyan wa hashala yakim wa yasha Allah ba'aith. To our elders and apostles in these times, known as great millstone to the elect. We say shalom until next time.